Huda, a light in every home.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Ask Huda. Before we take your calls, or until you call us, I'd like to mention something that a lot of the Muslims seem to ignore, and that is the importance of the role of the parents in Islam. Ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, asked the Prophet ﷺ once, and he said, "O Prophet of Allah, what is the best deed to Allah Azza wa Jal? What is the most appropriate? What is the most deed that brings pleasure to Allah Azza wa Jal?" And the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to pray on time. So Ibn Mas'ud said, then what? The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, to be respectful and obedient to your parents. And then the Prophet, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, and then what? And the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, jihad in the cause of Allah. The role of respecting and being obedient to the parents is something that Islam looks at highly. And it is so important that even if the parents were non-Muslim, Islam instructs the individual to be kind, obedient, and respectful to his parents. And in Islam, it is something that a lot of the non-Muslims are astonished by, especially in the West, where they tend to neglect their parents when they're old, because they think that they have no use for them. In Islam, it's completely different. When a parent is 60 years of age or older, he is like a king among his subjects. All of his offspring, his sons, his grandsons, are trying their level best to take him in and have the honor of having them, or him or her, in their house. And the child that wins this privilege, this honor, he always boasts about it, and he feels that he has the whole world in his hands, because he does not see his parents to be a burden. On the contrary, he sees them as a gateway to paradise. Allah, the Almighty, tells us in the Quran, "And your Lord have decreed upon you not to worship any other than Him, not to associate others with Him, and to be good to your parents." Look at these two commandments. Tawheed, which is the greatest thing on earth. Tawheed, which is worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal and not associating any others with Him in any form of worship. And then Allah associates with that to be good and kind and respectful to your parents. People, with regard to their obedience and respect to their parents, are divided into three sections or three types. The first type is those who do what they have to do in terms of obligations. They refrain from harming their parents, but they add an extra bit of obedience, respect, making them happy, doing whatever pleases them. So this type is inshallah in paradise, and they are rewarded. The second type is the majority of us. Those who do the obligations. They provide for their parents a house. Maybe they give them pocket money. They fill the refrigerator with food. And they do not say anything that harms them or that makes them sad. Yet they don't do anything extra. They don't do anything more to please them, or they don't go out of their way to make them happy. This type, they're punished by Allah Azza wa Jal because they have left what is known as al-birr. They've done their obligation, but this is not enough with the parents. It's not enough to do your obligation. You have to do something that is extra so that you remain away from the punishment. And the third type are the minority, but they are the most severely punished on the Day of Judgment, or among those who are severely punished. And those who do not do their obligation and they add to that insult, they may shout at their parents, they may beat their parents, unfortunately, as I've seen some cases, very little, but there are people who are that evil. May Allah Azza wa Jal protect us all and the Muslims. Therefore, one should try his level best to be among the first type. Their time is limited, yet if you look at the things you can do without any problem, it's not going to cost you anything. If you look at these things, you will find that it is easy when Allah Azza wa Jal makes it easy upon you. So you have to seek Allah's help and guidance. We have a caller, Abu Muhammad from Nigeria. Abu Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Raise your voice, please.
Ya Sheikh, good evening, and how are you?
I'm fine, Fasot. Yes, bro.
We missed you for a few weeks. I hope you're okay. I have 3 questions. The first one is regarding Umrah.
I'm unable to hear you. 1 second, just let us get the volume a little bit higher.
Okay. The first question is regarding the Umrah.
Regarding the?
Umrah.
Umrah, okay.
If you go and take your ihram and you make the intention at the miqat, are you supposed to be saying labbaik Allahumma labbaik in loud voice like you do in Hajj?
Can you repeat the question, Abu Muhammad, again?
You said what?
Hello? Okay, I wish that Abu Muhammad calls us again, because my team is telling me that there is a problem with his end. So, if you look at the Salaf, how they used to treat their parents, you would find that there's a very big gap between us. Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, and this hadith was reported in Al-Adab al-Mufrad for the Bukhari. He saw a man from Yemen on the season of Hajj doing tawaf around the Kaaba with his mother on his shoulders. So he's carrying his mother, and he came all the way from Yemen with his mother, and he is saying that I am my mother's camel, and if all camels are frightened, I will not be frightened. And then he looked at Ibn Umar and said, Ibn Umar, do you think by carrying my mother on my back and making tawaf and making sa'i and doing all the rituals of Hajj while she is on my back, do you think that I have fulfilled her and done my obligation towards her? Ibn Umar said, by Allah, not even by one contraction of her labor. All what you're doing is not equivalent to one contraction of her labor. Sister Asia from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
Sheikh, I just want to ask a question. Many people, they say that the people, when they pass away, you don't speak anything bad about them. And these people, many of them, whoever they were speaking about, they said that they have done something wrong with the people. They have done some zulm or some injustice with them. So the other people, when they feel hurt, they say something bad about them. And what about those people like Saddam and all those Libya, that head of Libya, and you're not supposed to speak bad about them? But
Okay.
they have done so much of zulm to Muslims. So
Okay.
can you please give me the answer? Jazakallah khair.
Wujazak, inshallah. Sister Asia is asking about those who have committed forms of aggression, those who have committed forms of dhulm upon the people. And she referred to 2 or 3 of the rulers who have passed away. And she's saying that, if I understood her question correctly, because I believe we have a problem with the audio system in the studio, if I understand her question correctly, she's asking whether it is permissible for those who were fasting to talk about them. Well, generally speaking, these people who are known to be aggressors, who are known to have committed acts of transgression, and who have killed people, and who have tortured Muslims, and who have fought against Islam, it is permissible to talk about them and to mention the bad things that they have done, simply because they were not concealing this, and they were tyrants. They did this type of aggression in the open. But a proper Muslim looks at the pros and cons. What is the use of me talking about them? If I'm sitting with my friends and we talk about Muammar al-Qaddafi, or we talk about these awful rulers who have tortured and abused the Muslims, what use is it going to bring? What benefit? So if there is no benefit, a proper Muslim refrains from talking about them, let alone cracking jokes or saying stories that are not authentic. This is not the way of a proper Muslim. But if I sit with people and they say, wallahi, this ruler or that tyrant or that bad Muslim was this and this and this, and they mention good things about him, no, in this case, definitely I have to stand up and defend Islam and say, no, this was a tyrant and he did so bad things and awful things. And Muslim should always try his level best to contain himself from talking in things that are of no use to him or to Islam, and Allah knows best. Abdul Salam from the Emirates. Brother Abdul Salam.
Hello?
Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullah.
Yeah, this is Ridwan, not
This is?
Ridwan from United Arab Emirates.
Ridwan, hayyakallah akhi Ridwan. What can I do for you, brother?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
I'm fine.
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
The first question is it compulsory by the woman to cover the head
To
before
what?
entering into the toilet or bathroom?
Is it compulsory to what?
Covering the head, because while going inside the bathroom, the woman has to cover her head.
Combing your hair, just with a comb?
Yeah, covering with the scarf or with any other cotton or with the cloth.
Yeah, in normal conditions, what's the ruling on combing the hair if you're in the bathroom with a brush, with a comb, with anything, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, any other question?
There is another question is, suppose is wudu invalidated if you see someone with short pants which you can see the knee? If somebody is, suppose if I do the wudu,
Wallahi,
if I'm going towards the mosque,
Akhi
and
Ridwan.
if I see my kids
Ridwan,
short
Ridwan.
pant or outside the room.
I can't hear you, Akhi. Can you speak a little bit? We have an awful problem with the
So
audio here in the studio.
Louder. Suppose if you is wudu invalidate if you see someone with short pants which you can see the knees.
Okay, you're asking about your wudu. Would it be invalidated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, because while suppose if you do the wudu inside the home, and if you are going towards mosque, because on the way you will see many people short pant, or even in home also, I can see my kids they're coming around and I can see the knees and all.
I will answer you, inshallah. I will answer your question. Any more questions? Okay. Brother Abdullah from Saudi Arabia.
Hello, Assalamualaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
أنا عبد العزيز من مسقط.
عبد العزيز. Yes, brother Abdul Aziz. What can I do for you?
I have two questions.
Okay.
One is regarding, see, when we are taking bath, normally we are using the cream, like Nivea and all. In that one, there is written some kind of alcohol is there.
Okay.
So with that one, we can pray.
Okay. Any more question?
And another question regarding lady, are they allowed to do waxing?
Okay.
If she is wife and like that, similar to that.
And removing the hair from the places that she wants to remove them.
Yeah, from hand and like that.
Okay. I'll answer your question, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair.
وجزاك عليكم السلام ورحمة الله. Alhamdulillah, it appears that the audio is a little bit better. I'm able to hear. Brother Ridwan from the Emirates was asking about the ruling on combing the hair in the bathroom. And I see no reason for you, Brother Ridwan, to think that there is something bad in that. See, without any evidence from the Quran and Sunnah, and this is the foundation. When someone tells you, yeah, don't clip your nails every Sunday because the jinn would do this or that. No evidence from the Quran and Sunnah, so this is incorrect. And when someone tells you that it is not permissible for you to comb your hair in the bathroom or after finishing a shower or before doing this or that, this is all baseless. You comb your hair in the bathroom, you use a brush, you use whatever means you want to. This is all permissible and there is nothing wrong in that, inshallah. As for his second question, does looking at someone's awrah, and we know that awrah is the things that a person is obliged to cover. So if for a male, the awrah is from the knee till the navel. So is it permissible for a person to wear something as short like this? Yes, it is. The legs are not awrah and the upper body from the navel is not awrah either. So if someone you look at and his awrah is exposed, does this validate or invalidate my wudu? And the answer is no. The things that invalidate your wudu are a handful. Anything else does not affect your wudu. So passing of urine or defecating or passing of gas or sleeping or eating camel's meat, all of these things invalidates your wudu. Anything that comes out of your private part invalidates your wudu. But if I see someone, I am supposed to lower my gaze and look elsewhere. If I don't, if I continue to look and watch that forbidden scene for me to look at, my wudu is intact, but I have committed a sin. Brother Abdul Aziz from Saudi Arabia is asking about some of the creams that can be applied to the body, and they contain an amount of alcohol. And if we would like to expand this a little bit further, what is the ruling on wearing perfumes that contain alcohol? Why are people asking this question? Because they have this idea, they have this conviction that wine is najis, is impure. And the question is, what does wine have to do with alcohol? They say that the ingredient in wine that intoxicates is alcohol. Well, let us put this notion aside and let us look at wine again. Where does it say in the Quran that wine is najis? It's an impurity. It is in the ayah mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, if I'm not mistaken, where Allah Azza wa Jal tells us that these four things, wine, gambling, idols, and the arrows that they draw for knowing what to do and what not to do. These four things are an abomination. رجس من عمل الشيطان. It's an act of shaitan. So some scholars looked at the word rijs and said that this is equivalent to impurity, and therefore wine is something that is impure. If it falls on my clothes, I cannot pray. It is like urine. But if you look at the other three, the impurity mentioned in them is not related to the physical impurity. Gambling, can we say that gambling is an impurity? If I gamble, this means I have to take a shower? Definitely not. It's a sin. Likewise, the idols, are they by themselves an impurity? If I touch them, it nullifies my wudu, or it affects my impurity. And likewise with the arrows. So these three things are not physically impure. And therefore, wine, which was mentioned in the ayah, is not physically impure. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ, when this ayah was revealed, he ordered the companions to get rid of any wine they had, and they spilled it in the streets of Medina. No one said that this would make the streets of Medina impure, and whenever you step outside your door, you have to go and wash your shoes and your feet because of this impurity. Having said that, we go back to the issue of perfumes with alcohol. We go back to the creams that the brother mentioned that contain alcohol. And the answer would be, it is completely permissible for you to apply them and to pray with them, and they do not affect your purity nor your wudu. And therefore it is completely permissible for you to use. As far as his second question about waxing, we have a caller from the Emirates, Abu Umar. We will take him, inshallah. We'll get back to you. Yes, Abu Umar.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I have a question regarding the prayer. If a person misses all the prayers for 30 years, say, what should he do? Should he make up for those 30 years, or should he just repent and leave it for Allah?
Your question is about prayer? Someone who did not pray for 30 years?
That's right.
Okay. Any more questions?
That's all.
Okay. We have Nana from Nigeria. Okay, Sister Nana is gone. Regarding Abdul Aziz's question regarding waxing, in Islam, hair is divided into three types. One, hair that you're not permitted to touch or remove. Two, hair that you're obliged to remove and get rid of. Three, hair that the Sharia, the Quran, the Sunnah did not comment on, so it is permissible for you to use. As for the first one, it is not permitted for a man to shave his beard. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ instructed us to grow our beard. And he said that you have to go against the Jews, Christians, and the 5 worshippers, and you have to grow your beard. So this is an obligation upon every single Muslim male that he has to keep his beard. For women, they're not allowed to pluck their eyebrows. So they're not allowed to pluck it, to shave it, to cut it with scissors. And the Prophet told us ﷺ that those who do this are cursed by Allah Azza wa Jal. However, this area between the two eyebrows over the nose, it is not considered to be part of the eyebrows, so this can be moved or removed. The third type of hair is the hair, or the second type, I did not go to that. The second type, which is mandatory upon a Muslim to remove, is the hair that grows on the armpit and the hair that grows on the pubic area. And the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith of Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, told us that these are signs of fitrah, of nature. And also Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, in the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ designated for them to remove 5 types of parts, or what you call clipping the nails of the body. It's part of purity and part of cleanliness. And among them he mentioned the armpit and the hair that grows on the pubic area. So this is mandatory. The third type is the type that deals with the rest of the hair on the body. So if someone says to me, what's the ruling on removing my arm hair? Or if sisters call and say, what's the ruling on waxing our legs, for example? All of this is permissible because there is nothing in Islam that says that it is not. I believe we have a break. Stay tuned, and inshallah we'll be right back.
Europe's forgotten heritage.
This is a sad reminder of the past history of the Muslims in the city. Nowadays, there are no Muslims anymore. These are the mosques that have remained. And it is really sad. Wait a second, this is Morocco. No, this is Tunisia, Algeria, North Africa, Egypt. No, this is all Europe, and this is all part of Spain. Islam spread first in Africa, and then from Africa, it came over to Europe, and then it did developing work in Europe. Now, we look the other way around nowadays. The compass was invented by the Muslims. Many important inventions came from the time of the Muslims on the Iberian Peninsula. Instead of people becoming less in battles, as we normally know, as we know in battles, obviously people die, but no, what was happening? The Spaniards recognized and realized the superiority of the Muslims and the treatment that the Muslims gave to the Christians and the Jews in Spain at that time, that they happily accepted Islam, many of them. And not over the fountain, as we've seen it before in other places in Greece. Now, it has some Arabic on top, as well as it had some Arabic down, where the tap used to be, or where the water was coming out.
Pack your bags, grab your passports, and join Dr. Steph Keris as he takes us through Europe and rediscovers Europe's forgotten heritage, only on Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Abu Umar's question, I forgot completely what it was about. It was to do with praying. Oh yeah, now I remember, alhamdulillah. The brother is asking about a person who did not pray for 30 years. And now, alhamdulillah, Allah Azza wa Jal has blessed him and he has repented and he is becoming practicing and prayer. And every true Muslim feels the burden of these neglected prayers that he had left. And a lot of the Muslims ask, is there any expiation? How can we make up for these prayers that we have missed? Well, first of all, you cannot make up for these prayers. Why is that? Because Allah Azza wa Jal has designated certain times for prayer. So if someone prays before time, it's not going to be accepted. And if someone prays after the time, it is not going to be accepted either. He has to pray within the intervals of the time of the particular prayer. And I'll give you an example. Dhuhr prayer starts when the sun goes a little bit away from the meridian towards the west, and there is a shade to the east of an erected object. This is the time when it begins. It ends when the length of an erected object is equivalent to its shade, when the shade becomes equal to the erected object. So this is the time of Asr. You can pray within these intervals, but if a person comes and prays half an hour before the adhan of Dhuhr, his prayer is invalid. It's not accepted. And if a person comes and does not deliberately pray within the interval between the beginning and the end, he's awake, he has nothing, no legitimate reason, and he deliberately postpones it until the Asr adhan is being called, then we say that his prayer is not accepted even if he prays it. Why? Simply because the Prophet said, ﷺ, whoever sleeps over a prayer or forgets it, he must pray it as soon as he wakes up or remembers it, because there is no expiation other than that. Now the Prophet ﷺ gave two reasons for skipping the salat and to making it up: sleeping and forgetfulness. Other reasons that are not legitimate, they cannot be cause for making up the prayer, because the Prophet said there is no expiation other than praying it after you remember or after you wake up. Therefore, the 30 years you have missed prayers, the most authentic opinion of scholars, you were not a Muslim. Because the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wassalam, that the dividing line between us and them, that is the Muslims and the non-Muslims, is prayer. Whoever abandons it has committed an act of apostasy or an act of blasphemy. And therefore, for you, the only thing to do now, okay, the only thing for you to do, Akhi Abu Umar, is to observe your prayer. And this would by itself erase all your sins, your previous sins. And if you add to that a lot of voluntary prayers, such as preserving the 12 rak'ahs every day and night, the nawafil or the rawatib as we call them, and by praying night prayer and offering witr, and by praying voluntary prayers, giving charity, fasting voluntary days, this would add good to good, and inshallah, Allah would forgive all of what you had done in the past. Brother Ridwan from the Emirates again.
Yeah, sorry, there was a misunderstanding in the question.
Okay.
Actually, I wanted to ask whether it is compulsory by the woman to cover the head, not the combing the hair, to cover the head before entering the toilet.
Okay. Any more question?
If you give me permission, I have one more question.
You can have 5, Akhi.
Yeah. So, see, I have many friends around, and they are Muslim, but they are different Muslims, like Shia, Dori. So how to keep the relation? Is it allowed us to go have the food with them in their home? How to keep the relation with them?
Okay, I'll answer your question, inshallah. Brother Amin from Emirates as well. Brother Amin. Alaikum salam.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Sheikh, I have a question.
Okay.
Actually, 3 questions.
The what? Hello?
I have 3 questions.
Yes. First question.
My first question is, after the prayer time, can we do a second Jama? Is it bid'ah?
Can you do what?
A second Jama, that is in the mosque. In the mosque, we have regular prayers going on.
Okay.
So after the prayer, can we do a second Jama?
A second Jama'ah?
Yes.
Okay. And second question?
Because my scholar said it is bid'ah. I just want to reconfirm it.
Okay. Second question.
Second question is, can we fold our sleeves while prayer?
Can you fold your sleeves?
Yeah, fold my sleeves. Can I fold my sleeves or yes?
Okay.
During prayer, because my scholar said it is bid'ah again, and it is not bid'ah. It is not allowed to fold sleeves.
Okay, third question.
Third question is, what if our parents are disobedient to us and is constantly abusing us? Should we continue being nice to them?
Okay. I hear you loud and clear. Okay. Any more questions?
If parents are abusive,
I understand.
Verbally. Okay. Thank you, Sheikh.
Hayyakallah, akhi. Abu Lina from Belgium. Salam. Yes, bro. What can I do for you?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum
I have a
salam
question.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. So my question is the following. I was wondering with regards to zakatul mal. On what do you base it when you have to pay it, like on nuqud? Is it based on nisab, on gold or on silver? That's my first question.
Okay.
Because I have some confusions with regard to that, because I found some information on the internet, so I wanted some clarification on that, inshallah.
Okay, second question.
And the second question is that here because I'm from Belgium, okay, in Europe, and there are some, let's say, some people, let's say they are like people who have a certain position, who give talks and lessons, who say that trimming the beard is allowed because there are some ikhtilaf on this issue. Like some say that you have to leave the beard, you cannot touch it. Some say you take from what goes beyond the fist. And he supports the opinion that as long as you have a beard, that you can see that there is a beard, even though he trims it, it is allowed. So I would like to have some, your opinion on that and what they base it on, if they have any proofs about that, if you can give some more clarifications on that. And the last question is with regards to when someone asks you if you are a Muslim, is it enough to say I'm a Muslim, or do you have to say I follow the Salafi manhaj, that I'm Sunni Salafi?
Okay.
So that's all, inshallah.
Okay. Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. Okay. Sister Khadija from, I don't know where.
From Belgium.
Belgium again, okay.
Yes.
Yes, sister.
I have 4 questions, if I can ask them.
Yes, okay.
The first question is regarding the fact that I work a whole day, and I'm working in a non-Muslim country, and there is no space foreseen where we can perform salat. What should I do?
They don't allow you to perform salah?
They don't allow me to perform salat on the working space, no.
Okay. Second question.
Second question is, I performed during the Ramadan. The last Ramadan, I just had a baby.
MashaAllah.
So I couldn't perform the Ramadan. In the meantime, I have already fasted. I've already done Ramadan. I've already done again 15 days. But in the meantime, I got now pregnant again. And I have difficulties when I don't eat in the morning or timely on a regular basis on a day. I cannot continue without eating. So I really need to eat. So I don't know what to do with my 15 days that still remain open from last year.
Okay. Third question.
The third question is about zakat. In fact, each time I do a sadaqah, I don't really say necessarily that it's zakat. So I don't know, is it now, is it then seen as zakat, or is it seen as sadaqah, and do I need to have the intention and to say this is zakat that I'm giving?
Fourth question.
And the fourth question is, I have a loan on my house, and I'm paying interest on it. Because the rent here in Belgium is that high, that it's almost the same if you are getting money from a bank, getting a loan, or if you are paying the same amount, but on rent, which in the end, after 20 years, you don't have a home. And if you get a loan, you still have your home. So I was wondering, if you receive interest then on a bank account, on money that you have saved, should that interest be given away, or can you say I am paying also interest, so I deduct it from that amount, so in the end I'm still paying interest?
Okay, I'll answer your questions, inshallah. Okay, we have a whole lot of questions, so I don't think we are going to receive anything before addressing these questions. First of all, Brother Ridwan from the United Arab Emirates. He is asking about the ruling that some people think that it is mandatory for a woman before entering a bathroom to put her hijab on. And this is baseless. It has no foundation, none whatsoever. And it is an innovation to do such a thing. When you go to the bathroom, you go like any other room. You say, Bismillah, A'udhu Billahi min al-khubthi wal khaba'ith, and you enter the bathroom. You can take your clothes there. You can take a shower. You can make wudu without being covering your head. So this is wrong. And he's saying that he has friends from other sects. And he named 2 or 3 of them. And what he's asking, what's the ruling on answering their invitation or inviting them over for lunch or for dinner? Well, it depends. If you want to give them da'wah and your sole purpose is to mix with them for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal and to clear their misconceptions, and you have the knowledge, it is extremely important that you are qualified and have the knowledge to talk to them about their deviant beliefs. In this case, it's permissible. It can be recommended, and it also can be mandatory depending on your knowledge and your ability to affect them. But if you don't have the knowledge, or you're just socializing with them, you love them for their character, and you never bring up the issues of religion, the answer is no. You should not associate yourself with these people. For one sect, they say that Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Aisha, may Allah be pleased with them all, and the majority of Sahaba are all kafir. How can you associate yourself with someone like this? How can you associate yourself with someone who says a little bad thing about Abu Bakr? You can't be a believer if you allow someone to do this and you're associating yourself with them. For the other sect, they say that the Prophet ﷺ was created from light, and from the light of Allah Azza wa Jal, and that he knows the unseen, and that his body travels in hundreds and tens of thousands of places every day, and that he's not in his grave, and he keeps on roaming and attending mawlids and etc. And their peers and their scholars say that it is possible that they see, not possible, I apologize. They say that they see the Prophet physically ﷺ, alive in front of them tens of times a day. How can you associate yourself with such a deviant sect? So inshallah, you have to evaluate this yourself. Brother Amin from the UAE, he had 3 questions. First question, he's asking about the ruling on forming a second jama'ah in the masjid after the first jama'ah has been over. So what's the ruling on that? The majority of scholars say that this is permissible. A handful of scholars said that this is not permissible, and they have the actions of Anas ibn Malik and Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with them, if I remember correctly, when they went to the masjid and found the jama'ah has been over with, each one of them prayed separately, and they did not form another jama'ah. But this is not the most authentic opinion. The most authentic opinion of scholars is that it is permissible for a person or a group of people to form a jama'ah and pray another or a second congregation, because the Prophet ﷺ once prayed Fajr with his companions, and after they finished the congregation, a man came in, and the Prophet addressed the Sahaba and said, who would go and give charity to that man? By meaning making a jama'ah with him, and one of the companions went, and they prayed a congregation in the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, and it was the second congregation in the masjid. He's asking about the ruling on folding the sleeves for prayer. The Prophet ﷺ, in the hadith of Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, said that I was instructed to prostrate on 7 organs, and that is the head, and he pointed to the nose, so these are 1, the hands, the knees, and the feet. And the Prophet goes on to say, alayhi, and I was forbidden from folding any part of my garment or my hair. So the scholars say that the sunnah is that you unfold anything in your body. So if I have a loose garment like this one, I may not fold it, so that when I bow or prostrate, it is not bowing and prostrating with me. And that is why a lot of the companions used to untie their hair, so when they prostrate, everything prostrates, even their hair as well. However, this is when you do it for the sake of the prayer, meaning that if I am normal, and just before I enter the masjid for prayer, I fold my sleeves. For the prayer, this is not permissible. But if my sleeves were folded already since morning, there is nothing wrong in doing that, inshallah. As for folding the trousers so that they go above the ankle, this is mandatory for prayer. Brother Amin said, what's the ruling on being kind and respectful and obedient to our parents if they are abusing us and if they're not doing their duties to us? The answer is you have to obey them, respect them, and please them, even if they are bad to you, because this is something that Allah mandated upon you. Your parents, Allah Azza wa Jal will punish them for their abuse and for their wrongdoing. But as far as you're concerned, you have to obey them and be respectful to them. Abu Lina says, they tell me that I have a minute to go, so I have to be really quick. What is the nisab that we measure zakat with? Is it gold or silver? The scholars say that it is silver because it is for the best of interest of the poor. The nisab of the gold is 85 grams. It may reach to be in the thousands of euros. While in silver, it's 595 grams and it's a couple of hundred euros, probably a little bit less, a little bit more. So it is best for the best of interest of the poor to be measured in silver. Regarding trimming the beard, it's an issue of dispute. The most authentic opinion that it is not permissible. Those who say it's permissible, they act upon the verdict of, or the actions of Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him. Whenever he went to Hajj, he used to shave after finishing the Hajj and trim his beard. And this is his understanding to the ayah, which is at the end of Surah Al-Fath, where Allah tells us that you will enter the Masjid Al-Haram and you will shave and shorten. So the shaving and the shortening is for the hair itself of the head. But Ibn Umar understood that it is permissible to do this. Sheikh Al-Albani says it is permissible to, not only that, he says it's mandatory to trim your beard, but the most authentic opinion is Sheikh bin Baz, bin Uthaymeen, and the rest of the scholars, that to leave it as it is, because this is what the Prophet ﷺ used to do. A third question, when a person asks me, are you a Muslim? Should I say I'm a Salafi, I am a Sunni, I am this? No, Allah Azza wa Jal tells you in the Quran to declare that you're a Muslim. So you don't say anything, because this is the name that Allah Azza wa Jal has given to us. But if you come to a crossroad and you have to identify your belief, then unfortunately you have to say that you follow the Quran and Sunnah, and that you are part of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Try your level best not to associate yourself with a sect and say this or that, because then they will attribute you to their scholars, and then it would become another sect like any other, even if their intention was good. Sister Khadija, I'm afraid that my director is telling me I'm out of time. You have 4 questions and I have them with me. Inshallah, either I will answer them next Friday or send me an email and I will inshallah respond to that. You can send it on fatwa online at huda.tv. And until we meet you next time, fi amanillah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate